Now let's look inside one of America's most iconic homes and kitchens, Julia Child's Georgetown estate. Julia, known as a culinary queen who brought French cooking to America, transcended food and pop culture in a way that no one could have anticipated. In fact, her cooking show, The French Chef, which aired from 1963 to 1973 on public television, is considered to be one of the first cooking shows on American television and is credited with making cooking French food a national pastime. And who can forget Dan Aykroyd's instantly famous impression of Julia on Saturday Night Live, highlighting the way she laughed at her own mistakes as she tried something new in the kitchen. So let's tour the very house where she perfected her craft and created some of her most famous recipes. Julia Child considered the charming Georgetown estate in Washington, D.C. her first real home. She and her husband, Paul Child, bought the property in 1948, a modest clapboard house tucked at the end of Olive Street. It was a symbol of their new life together, marking the beginning of what would become Julia's legendary culinary journey. Paul, a diplomat and artist, was instrumental in shaping the home's aesthetics, while Julia's budding passion for French cuisine turned their kitchen into the heart of the house. This is where she began experimenting with French techniques, sometimes cooking from morning until night. Her kitchen became the birthplace of recipes that would later fill the pages of Mastering the Art of French Cooking, a book that revolutionized how Americans approach food and introduced French cuisine to countless homes. Julia's personality was reflected in every corner of the home. Her warm, inviting style made it a gathering place for family and friends. She treated the kitchen as more than a workspace. It was a laboratory of love, exploration, and creativity. Affectionately called the Little Jewel by Julia, the house is painted in a buttery yellow with a bright blue door, echoing her love for French culture and cuisine. The 3,100 square foot home features 3 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms, with an outdoor patio that allowed Julia to grow fresh herbs, something she often used in her dishes. Though much of the home's historical charm has been preserved, including its colonial architecture and warm interior, the kitchen is undoubtedly the centerpiece. The naturally lit dining room offered plenty of space for Julia and her husband to host dinner parties and events, and a spacious patio leading out from the dining room was the ideal space to relax and enjoy a casual meal with friends and family. Now, let's enter the heart of the home, Julia Child's legendary kitchen. As you step into this space, you can imagine Julia standing before her beloved Garland stove, the 6-burner gas range where she conjured up many of the French dishes that made her famous. Child had renovated the kitchen upon her return from Paris in 1956 and installed a $400 Garland model stove that featured a commercial gas range with 6 burners and a steel griddle. She melted plenty of her beloved butter in the remodeled kitchen while fine-tuning many of her recipes, including beef bourguignon and French onion soup. Julia was known for saying that she adored this stove so much she'd take it to her grave. Though it didn't follow her there, it now sits in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, where it continues to inspire budding chefs. But this kitchen was far more than a place to prepare meals. It was Julia's creative space where she tested recipes that became staples in her television shows and books. She also held intimate cooking classes, bringing her love for French cuisine to her students firsthand. Everything from the placement of the countertops to the custom-made steel shelving was designed with practicality and comfort in mind, making it a highly efficient kitchen. Julia's kitchen was functional, not fancy, yet it was filled with character. Her love for organisation was evident, with pegboards lined with hanging copper pots and utensils that she used in her daily cooking. Each tool had its place, a system that allowed her to move fluidly through the space without interruption. While the current kitchen has been modernised, it retains its original essence. A patch of the olive green paint from Julia's time remains preserved, framed behind glass, a small but significant reminder of her legacy. What made this kitchen so special wasn't just the meals it produced, but the culinary revolution it sparked. Julia used this space not only for recipe development, but as a teaching tool for a nation hungry to learn. Her kitchen became a stage for her cooking show, The French Chef, which aired from this very home. Through television, she reached millions of viewers who watched in awe as she demystified French cooking techniques, bringing gourmet food into the homes of everyday Americans. For Julia, the kitchen wasn't just about following recipes, it was about embracing mistakes and learning through experimentation. She often reminded her viewers, if you're alone in the kitchen, who's going to see? Her kitchen was an extension of her philosophy that cooking should be joyous and unpretentious. Now, after Julia and Paul left Washington, D.C. in 1959 for Cambridge, Massachusetts, the home went through various phases. In 2009, it became a film star, serving as the set for Meryl Streep's portrayal of Julia Child in the film Julie and Julia. While many modern renovations have since been made, the house retains its historical essence, particularly in its design choices. Architect Hugh Newell Jacobson's modifications added a spiral staircase and a two-story glass window, but much of the original colonial charm remains, blending seamlessly with contemporary updates. Today, the home stands as a beautifully restored piece of history. After years of neglect, the 6-year renovation undertaken by software entrepreneur Rory Beavers Carter has brought new life to Julia Child's home, preserving the colonial charm while introducing modern conveniences. Renovated elements like exposed brick and modern fixtures blend effortlessly with the original design, creating a home that pays homage to the past while embracing the future. In 2021, the house was sold for $3.3 million, and it remains a beloved part of Georgetown's historical landscape. Though the home has seen many changes, the spirit of Julia Child continues to echo through its walls, especially in the kitchen, where her culinary magic first began. Julia Child's Georgetown home may no longer belong to her, but it's still very much a monument to her incredible journey. From its humble beginnings as the home of a diplomat's wife to the stage for America's culinary revolution, this little jewel has played a big role in preserving the legacy of a true kitchen pioneer. Now, we hope you enjoyed stepping inside Julia Child's home and encourage you to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon if you enjoyed the content. See you on our next tour.